So, this is the second video on the intro to Ayurveda. So I explain the idea that we have these 5 elements and that these are organized into 3 organizing principles: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So when we think about Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, there are 2 main approaches in Ayurveda. We've got the general and we've got the specific. So the general is looking at how the doshas are part of the seasons of our lives, the seasons of the year, and the hours in the day, which is applicable to everybody. So when we're born in the kapha state. So kapha is earth and water. It's joints, structure, lubrication, lungs, grounding, growth. You think about a newborn baby and the extent of growth and change and lubrication and like how much the bones grow and all of that between newborn and about 13 or 14 years old. So when we're born, we're in the kapha stage of life. We tend to get colds, snotty, sinuses. You think about little babies. Then we move into pitta. So pitta are the teenage years. Pitta is fire. So we get acne, we get anger, we get leadership, we get the sort of pushing away from the parents, creating the own identity, all that sort of explosive energy that goes on through adulthood, and that you really see these massive shifts and changes. And then as you get to your adulthood, so later adulthood, sort of in your 40s and 50s, you move into the Vata time. And Vata is air and space. And this is when we start to need less sleep, our skin gets drier. We tend to start to sort of separate from the physical world because we move into that airy, spacey world. So that's the seasons of your life. So we start in the Kapha stage, then we move into Pitta, and then we move into Vata. These 3 doshas are also cycle through our seasons. So right now it's summer, which means we're in Pitta season. It's hot, it's warm, it's fiery. Then we move into the fall when it's Vata. So the wind comes up, we get massive movement and change as the leaves fall off the trees. And then we move into Kapha. Kapha is when the rains start, the snows start, and all the growth is happening subtly and underground. And there's that sort of deep transformation, but it's cold and hidden and not as obvious. So Vata, Pitta, and Kapha cycle through our seasons. But they also cycle through our days. Vata, Pitta, and Kapha cycle through each day twice. So we have 10 to 2 is Pitta, 2 to 6 is Vata, and 6 to 10 is Kapha. And what that means is that there are different energies during the day, and that should affect what we eat when we sleep. So for example, 10 to 2, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., that's Pitta time. And what that means physically is that we have the most bile in our system. We're upright, our digestive tracts are awake, we have the most Agni, the most bile in our system, so we are able to digest food most efficiently. So we should be eating our biggest meal during that time of the day. It's also when the sun is in the sky, right? So Pitta, that Pitta fire, you want to harness that to be most effective in living with your body and with the times of the day. 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., the Pitta fire picks up again. And you may have noticed that when you get ready for bed and you're starting to feel sleepy, and then you suddenly get that second wind, that night owl energy. And that's Pitta fire. Now, if you're awake and you're directing that energy towards, chatting with somebody on via text or watching cat videos or watching Netflix or, paying bills or doing laundry, that Pitta fire is not being directed inwards. And what we know now, which is what I love when the neuroscience and the Western science ties in with the ancient science of Ayurveda, is that there are 2 things that happen, but only if you're asleep in this 10 to 2 window. Your brain shrinks, the cerebrospinal fluid increases, and your brain is essentially washed out. What that means is that your memories, your emotions, your experience of the day are processed. This does not happen if you're awake. The second thing is that your digestion fires up in terms of detox. But if you are awake or you've eaten a huge steak at 7 or 8 at night, that energy is going to go towards that and not onto detox. And interestingly, they've done some new research on sleep. And if you get 2 hours, 1 hour sleep in that 10 to 2 window is equivalent to 2 hours sleep at any other time of day. So that 10 to 2 window is the most important time to be getting sleep. The other thing to ponder in this window is when to wake up. So Vata is 2 to 6 a.m. or 6 is basically dawn when the sun comes up. When you wake up pre-dawn, you're waking up in that expansive, light, airy, spacey energy, which is Vata energy. And that energy is much better to wake up in. You're going to find it much easier to rise if you've slept well during the night. night. And if you think about ancient practices of meditation and yoga and praying, they all happen pre-dawn. Thanks for watching.